Hi Year 6 and welcome to Thursday's maths lesson. In today's maths lesson, just like we have been doing on Thursdays recently, we're going to be doing a bit of an investigation. Before we go into the main part of the lesson though, we have got our 6 daily arithmetic questions and our 2 stretch questions if you're going to try those today. So if you pause the video now and have a go, and then I'll go through the answers. Okay, hopefully you've got on all right with those. I bet you're feeling quite confident with these kind of questions now, as we've been doing them all week. So 7 squared means 7 times 7. The answer to 7 times 7 is, of course, 49. Okay, question 2, we've got 0.5 times 860. Remember, 0.5 something just means half of it. So, sorry, 0.5 times something means half of it. So half of 860 is 430. Question 3 is a BOD maths question. We've got a divide and we've got a multiplication. In BOD maths, the D comes before the M, so we're going to do the divide first. So 10 divided by 5 is 2, and then we've got 2 times 7 is 14. Question 4, we've got a fraction divided by a whole number. When we do this, remember D for divide, D for denominator, and the numerator stays the same. So the numerator on the top stays the same, and then it's the denominator that's going to change, and we're going to do 7 times 3, which is 21. Okay, question 5, we've got a fraction of an amount. So to find a fraction of an amount, we divide by the denominator and then times by the numerator. So first of all, we've got 840 and we need to divide that by 5. So 840 divided by 5, how many 5s go into 8 is 1, carry my 3, how many 5s go into 34 is 6, 4 left over, how many 5s into 40, it's 8. So 168, and then we've got to times that by 3. So 168 times by 3, because 168 is 1/5, but we want to find 3/5, so that's why we're timesing by 3 now. 3 times 8 gives me 24, carry my 2. 3 times 6 is 18, add my 2 gives me 20. And 3 times 1 is 3, add my 2 gives me 5. So my answer then is 504. Question 6, a fraction times a fraction. When we do this kind of question, we have to multiply the numerators and then multiply the denominators. So first of all, we're going to do 4 times 3, which is 12 on the top, and 5 times 9, which gives us 45 on the bottom. So 12 45ths. The 2 stretch questions then, and the long multiplication question, the answer we were looking for was 483,448. And question 2, the long division, the answer we were looking for was 63. Okay, hopefully you got on all right with those. Tomorrow will be our, that is our final day of doing those kind of questions, because tomorrow we replace our daily arithmetic with our quiz and our arithmetic test. Okay, next thing then, as usual, we have got our times tables. I'd like you to give yourself a minute to see how many times you can get through these times tables. Have a go. Okay then, Year 6, hopefully you're getting on all right so far. Now we're going to the main part of our lesson then, and we are going to be having a look at our investigation. Just going to get my mouse there. Okay, so this is our investigation that we are looking at. We have 5 cubes, just like I've got on the screen here, and we're going to put them together in different ways. The rules are the cubes must be together face to face. So that means when I put my cubes together, the faces, one of the faces of each cube must be touching. Okay, I can't have a gap between my cubes. They must be touching. That's what that part means. Okay, and none of the cubes can be toppling over. They have to be stacked. And I'd say they have to be stacked what we would say stacked normally. So for example, like this, we've got cubes stacked normally. You can have a cube that is doing this. Okay, that's not allowed. You can't have a toppling over cube. The cubes, when you stack them, they have to be stacked with the faces touching without a gap between the faces, and none of the faces are toppling over. Those are the rules. Okay. What we're then going to do is we're going to imagine that we are painting the faces that can be seen. And by seen, imagine this is like a little building. I've built this little building out of cubes, and I can walk all around it, and I can look at the different faces of it, but I can't go underneath it. Okay, because imagine that would be on the floor and it wouldn't be painted. So this little block that I've got here of my 5 cubes that I've created, we're going to imagine that they're painted, and for each face that we paint, so for example this square here, that would be one face. If I colour that in, let's have a little colouring colour. If I colour that would be one face. Okay, each face that can be seen, and we're going to give that a name, and we're going to call it a brush load. Okay, a brush load of paint. One face is a brush load of paint, so each square face is one brush load of paint. Okay, and just a note here, remember, once the shape is made, there is no picking up the shape to count underneath. We can only imagine that we walk around it and we paint all around the edge of it, and we're counting how many brush loads of paint we need for each shape. Okay, so sounds a little bit complicated, but just to explain a little bit further. So this shape here, this white shape, if I count the faces that can be seen, okay, I get to 15. And I'll show you how to do that now then. So if I'm counting the faces, imagine I can walk all around this shape. So first of all, let's choose a better colour than that. We've got the faces on the top, haven't we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 faces there on the top. And then if I'm walking around it, there's 3 down this side, isn't there? There's going to be 2 faces along the bottom. I'm going to put so I've got 5 along the top, 5, 6, 7, 8, plus 2 on the bottom, 9, sorry, not bottom, on the back, 9, 10. There's going to be 2 along this side, 11, 12. And then the ones that I can see here, 13. There's going to be 1 here, isn't there, that I just can't see at the moment, 14. And then the square on the front here that I can see, 15. Okay, so imagine that I'm painting that entire shape. I can see 15 squares, so I need 15 brush loads of paint. Okay, remember you're only counting the visible faces as if I was to walk around the shape, and we're not counting the underneath, okay, or any ones that are touching each other. So I'll show you another example. This second example then, I've got, choose a different colour this time, I've got 2 faces on the top, and then I've got 4 here, so I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2 on the back, 9, 10, then I've got 3 that I can't see that are on the other side of this, so 11, 12, 13, then I've got 1 here that I can see, 14, 15, 1 on the front here, 16, and 1 on the back here that I can't see, 17. So this shape here would need 17 brush loads of paint to cover it in paint. And my final example that I'm going to show you, again using 5 cubes. For my 5 cubes, and this one we need 21 brush loads of paint. So let's check it. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Round the back would be 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And around this side would be 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And finally that 1 on the top would be 21. So I would need 21 brush loads of paint to cover this shape. Remember, I don't need to count the underneath because I can't see that. Imagine it's a little mini building and we're painting that mini building. Okay, so your task is to find different ways of arranging 5 cubes. So imagine you've got 5 cubes and you want to find the shape that will require as few brush loads as possible. Okay, so the least number of brush loads for your shape. And can you create a shape out of 5 cubes that needs as many brush loads as possible? So the highest number of brush loads that you can find for the shape. Okay, remember, it's got to only be 5 cubes. Can't be any more at the moment. So the other rules, you've got 5 cubes. Cubes have got to touch face to face, remember? And you can't have any cubes toppling over. Okay, so what I would like you to do now is pause the video. This is the main part of your lesson, so this might take you quite a while. You might have to really think about this and really visualise it. If you've got any, if you want to try and do this using, I've just thought this literally just now, year 6. If you wanted to try and do this using Tinkercad, using the little cubes on there, and then you could look around the edge of the shape, couldn't you? And you could do that if you wanted to. If any of you got any little cubes in your house, you could do that. If you've got dice, for example, from board games could be used. You only need 5 to have a go. You don't have to do it practically like that, but we're looking for the different shapes, and we're looking for the shape that makes the most brush loads and the shape that makes the fewest brush loads. When you've had a go at that, if you come back to the video, and I will share with you some solutions. Okay then, hopefully you're ready for the answers then, year 6. Right, the solutions. So the smallest number of brush loads was 15. Okay, and here I've given you an example of what 15 brush loads might look like. Okay, so you might have done a shape like this. It might have been, rather this one is on its side, so it would look like this. The largest number of brush loads would be 21. Now your 21 brush load shape might look like this, which is made out of 5 cubes, or it might look like the one that I showed you earlier, that looked like this. Okay, which was also 21 brush loads. Okay, so hopefully those are the answers you've got. And what we'd like you to do now is to repeat the investigation, but this time try it with 6 cubes. Again, I want you to find what is the least brush loads you would need for a shape, and what is the most brush loads you would need to a shape. When you've done that, try it again with 7 cubes. Okay, and see again what are the least brush loads you need for a shape, and what are the most brush loads that you need for a shape. If you're going for the stretch today, not only would we like you to try it with 6 cubes and then 7 cubes, we want you to try it with 8 cubes and 9 cubes as well, and then trying to spot a pattern, because there is a pattern. Remember when we did that triangles investigation with the matchsticks and there was a pattern there? Pattern here is a little bit like that. So if you're really enjoying this and you want to do the stretch, and you have a go at doing it with 8 cubes and then 9 cubes, if you come back to the video after you've had a go, I will reveal to you what the answers are and what the pattern is. Okay, pause the video now and have a go at that then, year 6. Okay, here's our answers. So for 6 cubes, you might have drawn something or found something that looks like this. The least brush loads for 6 cubes was 16. The most brush loads for 6 cubes was 25. And again, these are examples of the shapes you might have found. 7 cubes, the least brush loads was 19. And the most brush loads was 29. For 8 cubes, if you did the stretch, the least brush loads was 20. And the most brush loads was 33. For 9 cubes, the least brush loads was 23, and the most brush loads was 27. Okay, I wonder if any of you have managed to spot a pattern yet. Okay, if you want to try and hunt for the pattern now, go for it. If you want to just watch the video, in the next page, I'll be giving you a bit of a hint as to the pattern. Okay, right, here are our results so far. So for 5 cubes, the least possible brush loads was 15. For 6 cubes, the least possible brush loads was 16. For 7 cubes, it was 19. For 8 cubes, it was 20. For 9 cubes, it was 23. The most brush loads for 5 cubes was 21. For 6 cubes, it was 25. For 7 cubes, it was 29. For 8 cubes, it was 33. And for 9 cubes, it was 37. Okay, if you hadn't spotted the pattern already, I wonder if you can spot it now. Maybe pause the video and have a think. Can you spot the pattern there with these numbers? Okay, looking at the pattern then. Start with these numbers then. We've got 15, 16, 19, 20, 23. Well, the difference between 15 and 16, we're adding 1, aren't we? I'm just going to write a little add 1. To get from 16 to 19, we add 3. To get from 19 to 20, we add 1. To get from 20 to 23, we add 3. There's a pattern, isn't there? We go in, add 1, then add 3, then add 1, then add 3, then add 1, then add 3. Ooh, we should be able to carry that on. What's the pattern over here then with the most brush loads? What pattern have we got? Ah, I bet you spotted this one. This one was a little bit easier to spot. Each time we are adding 4. So every time add 4. So now you know the pattern. What would the least and most brush loads be if I had 12 cubes? So not 9 cubes or 10 cubes or 11 cubes, but what would it be for 12 cubes? Pause the video and see if you can work that out for me. Okay, the answer I was looking for then was, we were looking for 28 was our least brush loads and 49 was our most brush loads. Okay, you could have a go, make it on Tinkercad and see what it looks like. Am I right? Is it actually the least brush loads is 28 and the most brush loads is 29? All right, Year 6, I hope you enjoyed that investigation. Tomorrow we will be back with our maths quiz. Remember, we are doing our maths quiz live at our 8:30 registration call in the morning. So make sure you're ready for that with a pen and paper ready to go. All right then, goodbye.